Okay, so for our first technical drawing, you're going to have similar precision as you had in the very first section, the drafting section. We're looking for that type of precision and craft. We're basically looking for a couple of different line weights, a construction line weight, which should be very light. I'm using just a standard Alvin Draft Tech 0.5 millimeter pencil. And then we have a standardized technical drawing title block for this section, which has 1 inch of margin to the left in case you want to bind this, 1/2 inch of margin on the top and bottom and right, and then for the title block itself, there's a 1/2 inch for where you're going to put your text, and then you've got 1/8 inch on the top and 1/8 inch on the bottom, which leaves you with 1/4 inch to actually put your lettering. For this first exercise, we're basically going to be doing something similar to what we did in the workbook, which is just drawing a bunch of cubes, focusing on the cube rules, focusing on proportion, focusing on craft, and using the tools in a similar way as you did for drafting. So, what we want to do is we want to start with a horizon line and 2 vanishing points. And we're going to, again, I'll refer to the vanishing points as training wheels. We are going to keep them on the page, and I basically want to split the area left between my title block and the top. I want to split that down the middle with our horizon line. So we'll have some cubes above and below the horizon line, which again is our eye level. So let's start by plotting out basically a midline that's going to run through that for the horizon line. Should be 8 3/4 inches below the top. And then our vanishing points will be where that horizon line meets the border. I'm going to make that basically an object line. So there's my left vanishing point, and here is my right vanishing point. This is my horizon line. What we want you to do is make cubes that somewhere between 1.5 to 2 inches, that leading edge. And we want you to make some above the horizon line, and we want you to make some below the horizon line. And in fact, we actually want you to make a couple on the horizon line, which we'll cover in just a minute. Vertical lines are vertical. So I'm just going to start somewhere down here. Like I said, we want you to be about 1.5 to 2 inches. I'll make a 2-inch cube. The leading edge, 2 inches. I can make that dark because I know it's going to be there. And then I'm going to flip my T-square over and begin to draw in vanishing lines. This first one. And we do want you to show your construction lines. So even though this is not an object line, I want to see your construction lines. And then you'll darken in where you want it to be an object line in just a moment. Okay, so we've gotten started. Bottom edge of our cube going to the right will be here, bottom edge going to the left will be here, top edge, and then we're missing the back top edges, and we'll have to find those once we figure out the proportion. So the important thing to think about here is our 3 cube rules. Well, we don't have to think about the convergence or the angle because that's given to us by our training wheels. So the main thing we're focused on here is proportion. What is the correct proportion for this cube? we know that it's to the right of the horizon line. And so that means I'll draw the left face a little bit wider and the right face a little bit narrower. So this will be approaching a square. So wider, narrower. Let's see if I can get all the way over there with this. Almost. It's close enough. What I would suggest doing is leaving all these construction lines fairly light so that you then can evaluate whether or not that looks like a square. I'm pretty happy with it. So there's one cube. So what we want you to do is we want you to put 5 below, 5 above, and I'd say 2 on the horizon line for a total of 12 cubes on this assignment. So let's do one above the horizon line. What we're looking for is a 2-inch leading edge. Let's put this one closer to the center. Doesn't matter where I put it. We've got that. I'm close to the center, so these will be somewhat equal. I don't know how close to the center I am. Let's see, this is 19 by 24 minus 1.5, 22.5. So this should be 11.25 would be, I'm real close to the center. I mean, so close, I think the center is right there. So close that I can even almost assume that this is in the center. May make this just slightly larger than that one. And as I do this, I want you to pay attention to how narrow the sides do look. A common early mistake, I say early, I think I made this mistake for a pretty long time, was to draw a cube with the sides too wide. Let's see how that looks. I can already see that maybe the one on the right is a little too wide. If you put an extra construction line in here because you're just checking to see if it's correct, don't worry about that extra construction line. It does feel like this is maybe just a little too wide. I'm not even going to erase that. All I'm going to do is add another line just inside that one. And that feels much better. And I'll just darken in the object line. So there we've got two cubes. Let's do one on the horizon line now. We'll put this one over here. There's my leading edge. So what's going to happen here? If I'm looking at a cube that I'm holding at eye level, will I see the top or the bottom? No, I'm only going to see the sides. So again, the key here is proportion. Let's go ahead and draw in the top. The only decision I really have to make on this one is how wide to draw each of the sides. But the same thing holds true. Even though it's straddling the horizon line, I'm just going to take that leading edge and draw vanishing lines to each of the vanishing points. But now let's just make a decision as to the width. Because it's to the left of the horizon line, I'll see more of the right side and less of the left side. And I think I've got a little too much on that right side right now. This one is a little more difficult to see because we don't get that extra visual clue that is seeing that surface. But that looks pretty good. Okay, so finish this drawing. We want 4 more on the bottom, 4 more above the horizon line, and 1 more on the horizon line. One thing that you might note is that if I was to take this drawing and flip it upside down, or if you take your phone or tablet and flip it upside down, it should look correct in either orientation.